Hi guys, in the last lecture we studied about carbohydrates. Now this lecture will be doing proteins. So here you see some protein enriched food. Now what are proteins? Proteins are the naturally occurring biomolecules. The term protein was coined by the Greek word proteos, which means of prime importance. The sources of proteins are grain, cheese, pulses, peanuts, egg, fish, meat, and must for the balanced diet. It is found in living cells, are present in hair, skin, muscles, nerves, enzymes, antibodies, hormones, etc. Proteins contains carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus. These elements and the other elements are cobalt, iron, magnesium, copper and zinc. Definition of proteins. Proteins are higher molecular weight biopolymer containing nitrogenous compound and on hydrolysis yields alpha amino acid. What does this mean? That means proteins are the polymers and the monomers are alpha amino acids and they contain nitrogen in them. So that is why when it is amino acid, that means it contains amino group and therefore nitrogen in them, and therefore they are called nitrogenous compounds. So proteins are basically the polymers that contain nitrogen and that on hydrolysis, that means reaction with water, yields alpha amino acids. Now what are alpha amino acids we'll come to know in the next slide. Or we can define it also in another way, that is proteins are polyamides and they have high molecular weight. They are polymers of the monomer units alpha amino acids. So they contain polyamide group because they are linked by, they are actually the polymers of alpha amino acids which are linked by peptide linkages, and peptide linkages are nothing else but the amide linkage. Therefore, they contain amides in them and therefore they are called polyamides. Now here see the molecule of protein. This on hydrolysis is yielding alpha amino acids. So proteins are the molecules that on hydrolysis yield alpha amino acids. Now what are alpha amino acids? See here. Here you see this is the main chain, carbon and COH group, and NH2 group is a substituent group. So here this carbon to which this functional group COH is attached is called alpha carbon, and to this alpha carbon amino group is attached. So this is called alpha amino acids. And the other two atoms attached are H, and the molecule attached is of R. R is a variable group. R can change. R can be a hydrocarbon, it can be acidic, it can be amino group. So this changes. So this is a variable R group. So here you see the chain of amino acids that is forming protein. So protein, these amino acids are linked by the peptide bond, which is a secondary amide bond, and these linked by the peptide bond, and they form a long chain of protein. So what are alpha amino acids? Let's see again. Alpha amino acids are the derivatives of carboxylic acid and are obtained by replacing hydrogen by amino group. So this hydrogen is replaced by amino group, then the alpha amino acids are formed. So in the carboxylic acid, when the H is replaced by the amino group, minus H plus amino group, and you get alpha amino acids. The general representation of the alpha amino acid is this. Here you see this carbon is a chiral carbon. This alpha carbon is a chiral carbon, and to which carboxylic acid is attached on one side, amino on another side, H below and R above. This R is a variable group. So R in the structure of alpha amino acid represents the side chain, and this may contain additional functional groups. So alpha carbon in all alpha amino acid is chiral in nature except glycine. So in glycine what you have two H's. So one COH group, one NH2 group, and instead of R you have H and H. So this is glycine. Here the carbon is not chiral in nature. Rest of all the alpha amino acids the carbon is chiral. It is found that alpha carbon and alpha amino acids obtained by hydrolysis of protein has L configuration. Now whether a molecule is having L configuration or D configuration, that is decided by the position of the group on the last horizontal line, whether it is on the left hand side or on the right hand side. If it is on the right hand side, it is D configuration, and if it is on the left hand side, it is L configuration. So you see in this molecule of alpha amino acid on the last horizontal line, amino group is on the left hand side. Therefore, this is L configuration and it is known as L-alpha amino acid. Classification of alpha amino acid. Now, on the basis of side chain, the amino acids are classified into three: acidic amino acid, basic amino acid, and the neutral amino acid. In acidic amino acid, instead of R in the alpha amino acid, you have carboxyl group. So when R is in the form of carboxyl group, then the number of carboxyl group is more than amino group, and therefore it is acidic amino acid. So if amino group are less than carboxyl group, then the amino acid is acidic in nature. For example, glutamic acid, aspartic acid. Now basic amino acid. If R contains an amino group, that is primary, secondary or tertiary group, the amino acid is called basic amino acid. Or if amino group are more than carboxyl group, then it is basic in nature. Example is histidine, arginine, lysine. Neutral amino acid. So neutral amino acid contains equal number of amino group and carboxylic acid group. When they are equal in number, they are neutral in nature. So R do not contain any functional group. The amino acid is neutral in nature. For example, glycine, alanine and valine. Now on the basis of synthesis. On the basis of synthesis, amino acids can be classified into two: essential amino acid and non-essential amino acids. So amino acids which do not synthesize in body and they are supplied from outside through diet, they are called essential amino acids. For example, lysine and valine. Non-essential amino acids are the amino acids which are synthesized in the body. They are called non-essential amino acids. For example, glutamic acid and serine. Now here you see this table wherein you can see the different amino acids are listed. So these is neutral amino acids. So instead of R, here you are having some hydrocarbon group. So glycine, you see instead of R is H, and it is represented by the three letter symbols GLY and one letter symbol G. Then you see next alanine. This is here the R is CH3 and ALA. The three letter symbol is ALA and one letter symbol is A. Then you have valine. Valine you have isopropyl group. It's represented by VAL and V. So likewise, these are the various amino acids which are neutral in nature. Then acidic amino acids. Here instead of R you have CH2COH group. It is represented by ASP and D. D is the one letter symbol. Then glutamic acid, instead of R you have CH2CH2COH. GLU is a three letter symbol and it is represented by capital G. Then you have basic amino acid, lysine, LIS, and the one letter symbol is K. Arginine, this is the functional group, this is the group R, and AR, it is represented by ARG or it is known as R. Then the histidine, instead of R you have this group and three letter symbol is HIS and H. Explain Zwitter ion. Now alpha amino acids are crystalline. Alpha amino acids are crystalline, colorless, water soluble, non-volatile, high melting solids. Alpha amino acids in the aqueous solution form salt due to the presence of COH group and NH2 group, and they are called dipolar ions. So such dipolar ions are known as Zwitter ions. Now see the formula of Zwitter ion here. This is alpha amino acids. When you dissolve it in aqueous solution, then the H of COH group gets transferred to NH2. So the proton transfer happens. H plus is called proton. Proton gets transferred to NH2 and it forms Zwitter ion, which is having two charges, NH3 plus RCHCO minus. So it is having plus charge also and minus charge also. Hence it is called a dipolar ion. So what do you see in the amino acid here? Amino acid contains two functional groups, NH2 group and the COH group. NH2 is a basic group and COH is a acidic group. So when dissolved in water or when an aqueous solution is prepared, then Zwitter ion is formed. Alpha amino acid gets converted to the Zwitter ion. And this Zwitter ion contains two charges, plus and minus, both on the same molecule. Hence it is called dipolar ion. So alpha amino acids have high melting point compared to the corresponding amines or carboxylic acid of comparable molecular mass because of the peculiar structure called Zwitter ion structure of amino acid when it is dissolved in water. So you see here, this is the amino acid, this is amine, and this is carboxylic acid. All are having similar molecular mass, but the melting point of alpha amino acid is much higher. Why it is much higher? Because it contains two functional groups, COH and NH2, and both show hydrogen bonding. So because of the extensive hydrogen bonding in the molecule, it has got high melting point. Alpha amino acid can exist in different forms depending upon the pH of the solution in which it is dissolved. So you see here Zwitter ion of alanine. There is plus charge and minus charge, equal number of plus and minus charge. So there is no net charge when the pH is approximately 6. But when you add acid to it and change the pH to less than 2, then the charge becomes only plus 1 charge, because acid solution contains H plus ions and these H plus ions get attracted towards CO minus ions and COH is formed, and hence it is carrying only plus charge. Therefore, at low pH, the cation is formed, and if you do the electrolysis of this cation will be going to the cathode. And similarly, if in the aqueous solution of amino acid, if you add base, then pH becomes greater than 10, then it carries negative charge, because OH ions combines with the H plus ions and forms water. So it carries now only one negative charge and it is a anion. So at high pH, the Zwitter ion changes to the anion. And when you do the electrolysis of such a solution, then anion goes to the anode. So, cation is formed at low pH, Zwitter ion is at the moderate pH, and anion is at the high pH. So, Zwitter ion changes to anion at high pH and cation at low pH. So, amino acids are the building blocks for proteins. Proteins are formed by alpha amino acid, and proteins on hydrolysis gives alpha amino acids. So, our proteins on hydrolysis first forms polypeptides and then alpha amino acids. So, proteins are polypeptides having more than 100 amino acids residues linked by the peptide bond. Polypeptides when more than 10 amino acids are linked by the peptide bond. Alpha amino acids are the simplest form of monomer used to prepare polypeptide chain and proteins. So now how are these alpha amino acids linked to form proteins? So what is peptide bond and how it is prepared? Definition of peptide bond. The bond that connects the alpha amino acids to each other is called peptide bond. When amino acids are joined by peptide bonds in which the amino group of one amino acid bonds to COH group of another amino acid, peptide linkage is formed. And this peptide linkage is a secondary amide linkage, CONH. Now here you see how the peptide linkage is being formed. This is one amino acid, this is another amino acid. They join together, water is given out, and the peptide bond is formed. So when glycine and alanine they react, water is given out and the peptide bond is formed. This is forms glycyl alanine. Now here are some more examples of the peptide bond. Here you see this is glycine, two molecules of glycine. They join by the peptide bond, water is given out and this peptide bond is formed. Dipeptide is formed from glycine. And when alanine and alanine, two molecules interact, they react, water is given out and this compound is formed. So these are some of the examples of dipeptide. Now tyrosine. Here you see tyrosine. In tyrosine of instead of R you have CH2 PH OH group and the two tyrosine join together, tyrosyl tyrosine is formed. Then glycine and alanine they interact. Alanine and glycine they interact and the dipeptides are formed. Glycine and tyrosine they form dipeptide, tyrosine and glycine. So in all these you see there is a secondary amide linkage being formed and the two molecules of amino acids they react, give out water and the so here you see tyrosine and alanine they react to form alanine tyrosine and tyrosyl alanine. So what is polypeptides? The number of alpha amino acids that are linked by peptide bond is more than 10. The products are called polypeptides. When this CHR unit linked by peptide bonds are referred to as the amino acid residue. Two ends of peptide chains are not identical. So one is the carbon terminal, another is the nitrogen terminal. So if you see the two ends of polypeptide chain, you will see at one end the nitrogen is there, at other end the carboxyl group is there. So this is carbon terminal and this is nitrogen terminal. Now types of proteins. Proteins are of two types, fibrous proteins and globular protein. In fibrous proteins, the polypeptide chains lie parallel to each other and they form a thread-like structure. These chains are held together by the hydrogen bond or the disulfide bond. And proteins are very tough and they are insoluble in water, dilute acid, base, alcohol. Example is hair. So you can just compare this fibrous protein with the hair. In hair, keratin is present. Hair, skin, nails, horn, feathers. So you know all these are insoluble in the acid, base, and they contain fibrous structure in which the alpha amino acid molecules are held by the polypeptide linkages. Then fibrin, silk, collagen, tendons, myosin, muscles. So these are some of the example of the fibrous protein. Then globular protein. The globular protein, the polypeptide chains are folded to form a coil or a sphere. So these chains are also held by intramolecular hydrogen bonding and the proteins are very soft and soluble in water, acid, base or alcohol. Examples are hemoglobin from blood, albumin from egg, thyroglobin from thyroid gland and insulin from pancreas. So here you see this is a fibrous protein, thread-like, which the polypeptide chains are formed. And here you see globular protein in which the sphere is formed. The shapes of protein molecules, fibrous and globular, are the result of four-level structures of protein. Now, what is this four-level structure of protein? Let us see. The protein forms four-level structure. That is primary structure, secondary structure, tertiary structure, and the quaternary structure. So, basically, protein exists in these four structures. So what is primary structure? Primary structure is a single simple sequence of constituent alpha amino acid residue linked by the peptide bond. It is represented by a three-letter symbol of alpha amino acid residues as per their sequence in the concerned protein. So as the sequence changes, the name of the protein changes, the type of the protein changes. So symbols are separated by dashes. Now you see an example here, the representation here. See the different amino acids, they are linked by, they are forming a polypeptide chain. One end is the N terminal, another end is the carbon terminal. So here you see in detail NHCHR dash CONH, CHR double dash CONH. So likewise, the different sequences of amino acids join together by the polypeptide chain and they form the primary structure of protein. So this single structure, this single layer of protein is called primary structure of protein. Now primary structure, when it coils, it forms a secondary structure. So three-dimensional arrangement of localized proteins, localized regions of protein chain is called secondary structure. So secondary structure, you see between NH and CO, you will see the hydrogen bonding, which gives rise to the secondary structure. This secondary structure of protein refers to the shape in which a long polypeptide chain exists. And two types of secondary structures are alpha helix and the beta pleated structure. Now what is alpha helix structure? What is beta? So this is the alpha helix structure. Alpha helix structure, the polypeptide chains twist right hand side or in the clockwise direction. And this is a three-dimensional structure. While this is the beta pleated structure, this is a two-dimensional structure and in which the polypeptide chain lie parallel to each other. So this is the alpha helix structure and this is a beta pleated structure. Here you see the NH of the first amino acid is held with the CO of the fourth amino acid by hydrogen bond. So here you see the hydrogen bonds, intramolecular hydrogen bonds present, while here there are intermolecular hydrogen bonds between the neighboring amino acids. Tertiary structure of protein. The three-dimensional shape adopted by the entire polypeptide chain of protein is called tertiary structure. It is a result of folding of the chain in a particular manner that the structure is itself stabilized, also has a attractive interaction within the aqueous environment or cell. So the globular and fibrous proteins represent the two major molecular shapes resulting from the tertiary structure. So tertiary structure is basically formed by further folding of the secondary structure. The forces that stabilize a particular tertiary structure are hydrogen bonding, dipole-dipole interaction, electrostatic attraction, London diverse forces, dispersion forces, and disulfide bond. These forces makes the second tertiary structure stable. So here you see this tertiary structure. This is the disulfide bond. This is the electrostatic attraction force. These are the London forces between the molecules. This is the beta pleated structure. This is the alpha helical structure, which is further folded and it is forming the tertiary structure. Here you see the hydrogen bonding. So this is the tertiary structure. Hemoglobin can do the function of oxygen transport only when all four subunits are together. So quaternary structure. When two or more polypeptide chains with tertiary structure come together into one protein complex, the resulting shape is the quaternary structure. So hemoglobin consists of four subunits called heme held together by the intermolecular forces in compact three-dimensional structure. So this is the primary structure. In primary structure, this one long chain is there. Then secondary structure, when folding of this primary structure takes place, it is called secondary structure. This folding can happen in the form of helix or it can happen in the form of sheets. The secondary structure of alpha helix is a three-dimensional structure, while beta pleated sheet is a two-dimensional structure. Then this beta pleated and alpha helix, when they further fold, they form the tertiary structure. This tertiary structure further folds, it forms a quaternary structure. So these are the four levels of protein structures. The denaturation of protein. Denaturation is a process by which the molecular shape of protein changes without breaking the amide or peptide bonds that forms the primary structure. So basic bonds are not broken. A process that changes the three-dimensional structure of native protein is called denaturation of protein. So denaturation can occur because of change in pH, because of heating, cooling, addition of electrolyte, addition of solvents like water, alcohol, etc. So denaturation is basically the uncoiling of the protein that destroys their shape. So they were having got alpha helix shape, beta pleated shape, tertiary structure, quaternary structure. So all these shapes are lost because of their characteristic. It loses their characteristics biological activity. For example, coagulation of egg, coagulation of milk. Now these are some of the tests for proteins. Biuret test. So in biuret test, what happens? Protein to protein, you add a biuret reagent, 10% NaOH, drop of copper sulfate, and you get a reddish violet precipitate. This shows the presence of secondary amide linkage. Millions reagent. When to protein, mercurous nitrate and mercuric nitrate and HNO3. This together is known as Millions reagent. So when to protein, when you add Millions reagent, if white PPT is obtained, which on heating gives you brick red precipitate, this test is called Millions reagent. And this shows the presence of OH group or phenolic group in the protein. For example, tyrosine, the protein made from the tyrosine amino acid will give this test positive. Now xanthoprotic test. In xanthoprotic test, protein is reacted with conc HNO3 which gives a yellow solution, and that on after heating and addition of NH4OH gives you orange color solution. So this shows the presence of benzene ring, and the protein that is made from tryptophan amino acid or skin proteins give this test. So ninhydrin solution. So protein when treated with the, ninhydrin solution gives a violet color. This shows the presence of secondary amide linkage. Now these are some of the questions. You can solve these questions. Thank you.